The impossibility of saving money in the US. Everyone has a hand in your pocket. Now, everyone I know these days is broke. Most people in the country don't have $400 for an emergency. Most emergencies are probably going to be much more expensive than that. Much of the country is living paycheck to paycheck. Wages are pretty low overall for most people, and inflation, the cost of living, is sky high right now. When these prices go up, they usually don't go back down very much. So it seems we're locked in at the current level, and cost of living is likely to continue increasing. That's the trend. Now, why is it so hard to save anything? In the US, everyone has a hand in your pocket. Before you see your paycheck, taxes are taken out. Then when you buy something, you're taxed again. We don't seem to get much back in return for all the taxes we're paying. The biggest expense, rent. Many people are spending most of their paychecks on rent. People can't afford to own a home. Rent in the largest cities has gotten absolutely crazy. Not sure how people are keeping up with these costs. Developers are buying properties all over the country, and this has contributed to raising costs. Now, the expense of having a car definitely drains your wallet. Cars have gotten very expensive. Many people have a car note, then the insurance payment, then you're at the mercy of the cost of gas rising, whatever the cost is at the time. Probably the third biggest expense is food, definitely. Food is right up there, and this is where everyone has noticed how expensive things have gotten, especially if you want to eat good, healthy, non-processed food. So rent, car, and food are probably the three biggest expenses that are making it difficult for anyone to save very much. In most places in the US, it's really hard, sometimes impossible, to live without a car. You need shelter, you need to eat, so you're kind of stuck paying whatever the rate is for these essentials. Now, if you have health insurance, that's going to be another large expense taken directly out of your paycheck. Many of us don't have health insurance to avoid this expense. Knock on wood that you don't need medical services at some point, the bills for which could easily bankrupt you. Or there's a life-saving treatment you need, but you can't afford it, so you don't get it. High cost puts you in a tough place, having to choose between an astronomical bill or possibly your life. The next biggest expense, going off some info I read on the topic and personal stories from people I know and my own personal debt, is credit card debt. Due to the combination of low wages and high costs of everything, many people are using credit cards to pay bills, to pay for their basic living expenses. I did a quick online search, and the average credit card debt per person in the US is about $6,500. And with predatory interest rates, the minimum monthly payment could easily be a few $100s. It's tough getting caught up on payments when you're barely able to keep up with paying the interest each month. So people get trapped in that debt cycle, and it's super tough to get out of. Something goes wrong, as it always does. Your car blows a tire, you break a tooth and need to have a root canal. Your ceiling starts to cave in, as happened to a friend of mine at her place in Chicago. And suddenly you need to use the credit card for a bill that is hundreds or thousands of dollars just to fix things and just to try to get back to normal, somewhat normal. So it's very hard to live above a survival level in the US. In most cases, you're just scraping by, and you're one emergency or a lost job away from complete disaster. Now, that's super stressful, living with these pressures, the stress of a job, and it takes a toll on everyone's health. The next expenses that likely drain away any surplus cash people have is subscription services for entertainment, like a cable TV package, for example. Then since you're spending most of your time working, you don't have time to cook, so it's easy to look for convenience with fast food or delivery services. The cost of eating out has also skyrocketed. So the system keeps you trapped and scrambling to keep up with your bills. Most people I know are not thriving, they're just surviving. They have little free time, they don't really take vacations, maybe a long weekend every once in a while. Many are not doing something they enjoy. More and more among people I know, people are looking for alternative ways to escape the system, living in an RV or a van, moving in with roommates, moving overseas somewhere where the cost of living is much cheaper. So do you have any ideas for breaking out of this system, out of the debt trap cycle, living free and doing more of what you want with your time on this planet? Let me know what you think. Share your ideas in the comments. Thanks for tuning in, and see you in the next one.
Only 2 hours.
People testing science today. Y'all just crazy. I'm just a soldier. I'm just a soldier. I love baby. Hey, what up? Right, so what's up?
Testing.
Let them make it. Otherwise,